All right, so my name is Jiang Wu. I'm from James Lake High School in San Jose, and the curriculum unit I developed is Sickness Simulator, and I taught it to my Math 3 class at James Lake High School. So I had three goals for this unit. First is I wanted students to be able to develop a project that they'd be able to remember past their graduation. They're like, wow, looking back on my high school, I really made something meaningful. And second, I wanted them to develop their digital literacy. Prior to the rise of large language models such as ChatGPT, digital literacy typically meant something like you could go on the internet, you could search for information, you could download a file. But with the rise of these intelligent systems, I feel like it's more important to be able to collaborate with them and in a way bend them to your will. So that was my second goal. And my third goal for this project is really so that they could develop like an appreciation of what they could do with these intelligent systems, because I feel like artificial intelligence is developing at a rate that if you don't get with the program and you don't embrace how to use them meaningfully, you may get left behind. So those were my three goals for this unit. And then for this project, I wanted students to be able to select an infectious respiratory disease of their choice, research the disease-specific variables, and then construct a simulation that models the spread of that disease through a population. So in order for them to do so, they would need to research disease-specific variables such as infection distance. How far does an infectious agent need to be from a susceptible agent in order for the susceptible agent to get it? They also needed to research stuff like infection chance, because it's not guaranteed that as long as you are within that infection distance that the susceptible agent will get sick. And also the mortality rate, like once you get the disease, how likely it is you will die or how likely it is that you will recover. And probably most importantly, I wanted them to research some type of intervention or some type of what-if scenario. So what if 50% of the population wore masks? Or what if the population had to visit like a central hub, like a school or a grocery store? How would that influence the spread of the disease and the charts that go with it? So the most difficult part of this was generating the code that the model would be based on. And to do that, I encouraged students to use ChatGPT. And from what I've noticed, students didn't have the skills to properly prompt engineer ChatGPT to be able to get what they want. And so that was one of the main challenges, especially when the program wouldn't run. So another skill that I feel like students developed is once the program crashed, like if you missed a semicolon, if you missed a bracket, if one variable name was uppercase when it was supposed to be lowercase, the program would just crash. And rather than just freezing and thinking, oh, it doesn't work, one of the skills that students developed was like really reading the error. Back in the old day, when your computer would crash, it would just be like a blue screen of death. And then that's like really bad because not only does it shock the user into saying, oh, this doesn't work, it wasn't very descriptive in saying what the errors are. But nowadays, errors are much more user-friendly. You could read the error, you could search up the error, and you can find ways to go around it. So that was another one of the skills that students developed. And so I'd like to show you a demo of the simulation. So here it is. On the left, you can see there are several sliders. These sliders are the disease-specific variables that you can adjust. So, for example, this particular disease has an infection distance of 3, and if you wanted to adjust it, you can just move the slider around. Green agents, the dark green agents, are the susceptible agents. The light green agents are also susceptible agents, but they are a mask. So their chance of getting the disease is lower based on the slider that says mask effectiveness. And I'm just going to let this run. And on the right, you can see a graph that plots the number of susceptible and the number of infectious agents over time. At the bottom, you can see a gray graph that represents the number of people who have died from the disease. This student also included a toggle called immunity, which if you toggle it and restart the simulation, it shows the number of people who have recovered from the disease and are now immune from getting it. So I'd just like to run the simulation one more time with the modification of immunity, so you can see what effect that would have on the simulation. I'm also going to up the mortality rate a little bit, and the simulation automatically ends when there are no more infectious agents. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.